Hello, this lesson is for elementary friends. Today we are going to be doing a self-portrait of sorts that isn't very realistic but is really fun. I call it the Bad Hair Day self-portrait. And Soph, I think you might be, are you zooming in on these?
Not yet.
Okay, but she will. And you can see that they are a portrait in that they have a face with features, but there's something really crazy about them. They have this wild hair with lots of pattern. So, our supplies today are very simple. We just have markers, and I have water-based markers and Sharpies. Whatever you have at home will work fine. We need a pencil, and just a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper will be just fine. If you want to make a larger portrait, that is certainly up to you. How we're going to start is we're going to start with our head shape. I'm going to turn these around, so if Sophia wants to refer to them, she can. So with this, both of my portraits here of a girl and a boy, the head shape itself is quite oval, but we have a little bit different hairline. On this, the girl's head shape, she has almost like a heart shape, what we call a kind of a widow's peak hairline here. And the boy's hairline is almost straight across with just a slight dip there. All right, we want to notice that the chin is quite close to the bottom of the page. All right, so we have enough room for neck, and if you would like, you can also put shoulders in. But we want to have plenty of room above the top of the head to make some crazy hair. All right, so I'm going to start on mine. I'm going to start near my bottom of the page with my chin, and I'm going to just try to make an oval shape. All right, there we go, an oval. Now with this one, I decided to just have a straight hairline, but if you have your hairline has a widow's peak or it has some sort of a little bit of a dip in it, you're welcome to add that onto your portrait. Next thing we're going to do is add our first feature, which will be the eyes. And what I want you to do is take your hand, and your eyes will be about the width of your hand. That's where they're going to be. I'm going to put a slight pencil line there, a very light pencil line. That's where my eyes, the bottom of my eye will be about there. The eye shape, again, is pretty much an oval, all right? And you want to make sure that you have your eyes not too close together. So I'm going to put 2 fingers here and make a little mark here and here on the sides of where I know my eyes are, the bottom of my eye should be. So I'm going to put my oval shape in this range, all right? There's my oval shape. And as we've talked about before, our eyes have something called an iris, which is the colored part of your eye, which is basically a circular shape. Now, you can decide with your eyes if you want your eyes looking to one side, like this particular portrait, looking straight ahead. Let me take this for a second. There's a little paper I have made that shows kind of some expressive eyes, all right? You could have your iris, your eyes very wide open with I should have put an iris and a pupil in there, but you get the idea. You might have your eyes looking more like almond shape and tipping up, if that's the type of eyes that you have. Your eyes could be cross-eyed, which would make your portrait look even crazier. You could be looking to the side, you can be looking down, etc. So let's add our iris. For this one, I think I'm going to have my portrait looking down a little bit. So I'm going to make my circle not all the way whole, but using the bottom part of my lid as part of the circle. I also want to make a top lid, so I'm going to make a slight line across the top because we do have eyelids. All right. And I'm going to add a pupil in the middle. If you want to, you may add the suggestion of eyelashes. You don't have to. I'm just doing all this in very light pencil. All right. we want to give ourselves some eyebrows. Now this is where you can really add some expression to your portrait. If you have eyebrows that are pointing to the nose, it makes the portrait look kind of angry, all right? So if you want your portrait to make you look angry, you can put your eyebrows pointing towards your nose. If you want them to be more neutral, you can put your eyebrows above your eyes and either have them straight, kind of a straight. Some people have eyebrows that are quite straight. Other people have eyebrows that are more arched. Really take a look at your face in the mirror and you can decide which type of eyebrow you have. All right, so let's make them both the same though. So I'm going to make this one a little more straight. All right, now I've got eyebrows. Another feature we have is our nose. Now you notice that we don't have to draw all of the planes of a nose. We can just make a suggestion of a nose as well. So on my boy portrait, I just made a slight line, and everyone knows that that is basically suggesting a nose. This portrait, I made a little bit more of the nose. So I'm going to take and make a line, and this time I think I'm just going to suggest the nostrils. All right, so I've got a line and some nostrils. I'm going to get rid of this line. And then our mouth is usually at least 1 finger's width below your nose. All right, so I put a little line there. And you notice that your lips usually have 2 bumps before they go out to the sides. You can look again in a mirror at yourself and see what your lips look like. And you may be smiling, really smiling, or just a slight smile. It's up to you. I'm going to make this portrait smiling kind of big. All right, so now I've got features: eyes, eyebrows, nose, mouth. We also want to add some ears, and your ears, excuse me, usually start near the top of your eyelid, out to the side, and then go to about the bottom of your nose. So this is just a general rule. One side, the other side again, start near the top of the lid. This is basically just a C shape. All right, oops, that one I went a little too long. I want to actually end about the bottom of the nose. So there we go, more like that. Again, if your ears aren't perfectly aligned, that's all right, because in truth, a lot of people's ears are a little off. All right, now the fun part. We're going to start the hair. You can see that with the girl's portrait, I think the easiest way is to start near the top and start making these bands that represent the hair. And they should be at least 2 of your fingers wide, so you don't end up with too many very, very thin bands because it gets too complicated. All right, for the boys, the same thing. I think using about a width of 2 of your fingers to make your hair parts works well. I'm just going to mark on my portrait about that width, all right? So I'm going to go around, I can just eyeball it, but if you need to, put your fingers down and kind of make a little mark where your parts of your hair will be, all right? Okay, this one will just end someplace about there. Now, for the boys, your hair can be pointy and sort of spiky, or it could just be rounded, all right? It could just be something like this. We want enough space that we can make some pattern though. So I'm gonna make this a little crazy again. This is not supposed to be realistic. It's just a little wild. So. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces on my portrait to make pattern, which is a lot of this is about pattern and color. We also want to add a neck. So your neck is going to usually be somewhere near the edges of your mouth, a little past the edges of your mouth. Should be the width of your neck. You may come down and just make a neck, or you can give yourself your shoulders as well. And put some sort of a top. This one I'll have kind of a V neck. So that's a good start. Now the fun part, the pattern. There are two ways you can go about doing this. You can do your pattern in pencil first, or you can go ahead and use a dark marker to make your patterns. I think it's a little safer to try out first with just in pencil. So I'm going to make some stripes on this one, just very basic stripes. On this one, I think I'm going to do some spiral designs. Again, the patterns you choose are completely up to you. This one I'm going to do a checkerboard pattern. Okay, that's good enough. Let's see, on this one I think I'll just do circles right next to each other, etc. You can keep, I'll just do line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, line, dot, etc. You can find patterns, choose whatever patterns you like. If you look at these two samples, you'll see I've got lots and lots of different patterns. This one is sort of like a rick-rack zigzaggy, little tiny X's, again wavy lines, hearts, long line, short line, long line, short line, spirals, checkerboard, dots or circles, a squiggly, stripes again, more checkerboard but at an angle, just simple dots, etc. You can see all the different patterns that I've chosen. Also, I want you to notice that I did try to think about color. I think it makes for a more interesting portrait if you don't have the same colors right next to each other. So if you decide you want to use purple, try to spread it out. So we have purple here, some purple here, a purple way over here. I've got pink here, but pink, the other pink way over here. So again, spread them out so it gives a little more interest to your portrait. And finally, when you are all finished with your pattern and your color, you should take a dark marker. I think I used a Sharpie on these, a black Sharpie, and outline. It really gives your portrait a finished, polished look. Okay, and I think I've done enough here for the sample for you to see. I am going to spread out the instructions, Sophia, and you can take a shot of that. So in case friends want to just stop the video and see the steps, they can do that.
Okay, so there's the first part.
Is the head shape and chin near the bottom of the page. Then hairline, you want to consider all the features that you're going to put into your portrait, your brows, your eyes, nose, mouth, and ears. And then step 4 is completing the crazy hair, which I think is the fun part. And again, you want to remember to work in pencil to start with. Your hair bands are about 1 to 2 inches wide, so you have space to repeat the pattern. You can just use your finger as a guide, your 2 fingers, and then try to use a variety of patterns. And you can see that I have lots and lots of samples here in the word patterns, and again on my portraits.
I have one more question.
Sure.
What if, can they use colored pencil or something to color in their face if they want to?
Absolutely.
If they want it to be a different shade?
That's a really great question, and the answer is yes. You could also use colored pencil for the entire portrait. That would give you a softer look to your portrait. So if you don't have markers at home, that's a very good alternative.
Okay.
All right. So once again, friends, I hope to see some of the samples posted on the Northside website, and I hope you all have a terrific week. I look forward to seeing your art. Take care. Bye.